Hey everyone, and welcome to a new video on Bite of Geek. Today I'm taking a look at a 2K floodlight security camera from ieGeek. Let's check it out. So the home security camera market is absolutely brimmed with hundreds of different products from various manufacturers. But your main ones are kind of like your Eufy and your Arlo and your Ring, and ieGeek have come along with something at a reasonable price with similar or better specification than some of those products from those key brands, and they're hoping to try and, I guess, take a crown of one of those with this new product. So we're going to open up the box, see what you get inside, go through the setup process, and then we'll do a bit of outdoor testing day and night, and you can see how well it actually performs. So this is the 2K floodlight security camera from ieGeek, a brand I'd never heard of until they'd reached out to me, but looking on Amazon they have quite a few security related products available there. This is your usual set of things, I guess, color, night vision, 2K resolution, rechargeable wireless security camera. It's got all the usual bits and bobs you would expect to see on these kinds of devices. The box has got all kinds of info here as to how you can possibly use this camera around your home. So I'm going to open up the box, see what you get inside for your money. This is currently selling on Amazon UK for £179.99 with a £60 discount at the moment. So if you're interested in picking one of these up, there will be a link in the description below. But inside the box, first thing, like a lot of these products, you've got your little welcome pack, and basically these are just full of little cards and your how to register your warranty and all that kind of stuff. And you've also got here just the quick start guide. So we'll go through the setup process in a little bit. And then you get one of these ginormous stickers, like you do with a lot of these video cameras, to stick that on the front of your property. That is going nowhere near the front of my house. And then the nice thing about this pack is you get a solar panel with this, so you don't have to buy that separately. So when you think about that cost of £179, you just need to bear that in mind, that you are getting a solar panel with this as well. Obviously little box of accessories as well, but the solar panel looks pretty good quality. Can't really complain about that. Is probably pretty bog standard. I've never used a solar panel with any of my cameras, my battery cameras before. I guess the only disappointing thing, it is a micro USB connection. I really would like manufacturers to switch over to USB-C. The rest of the world has moved on now. But inside the rest of the box you've got the camera itself, and it's a bit of an interesting camera, this. I think it's slightly different to kind of the usual things that you've seen on the channel before. The thing that first jumps out at me is this is a large camera, not just the front of it, but the actual body itself. Obviously you've got the wireless antennas here as well, so if you struggle with wireless connectivity out to your cameras from your property, then hopefully that will help a little bit. On the underside of it you've got a speaker, and then you've got this little rubber flap here where you've got your micro SD card slot, and you've got that USB, micro USB connector there as well. So pretty good to see all of that protected underneath a nice little cover like that. And this is IP66 rated, I believe it is, so it should be pretty good in terms of weather resistance. And nice little neat touch here, if I can just get that open, is you can, if you're going to use the solar panel, then you can just expose the USB connection there rather than the whole underside, which has got everything else visible. You've got your power buttons and your reset buttons underneath there as well, so all nicely tucked away underneath that, keeping them away from dust and water. Just on the front, just peel off the cellophane here, So just on the front, obviously you've got these great big lights, normal cameras, Eufy and Arlo and all those, they are little tiny LEDs. So it'd be interesting to see in my testing what the lighting is like on that. But just to give you a bit of an idea in terms of size of this camera, I'm just going to bring in some of my other cameras that I've reviewed on the channel, and the first one that I'm going to bring in is the Arlo camera. So this is one from the Arlo Essential range, and as you can see, the size of the camera, it is significantly bigger. The body is quite a large size. Obviously the Arlo camera's got such a tiny little LED light on the front there, and then the Eufy 2C camera. So this is one of the smallest security cameras that I've got, and this is roughly half the size of the ieGeek. Again, a really small LED light on the front. And then the WOOK cameras, which I've recently reviewed on the channel. Again, small LED light on there, still a smaller camera body. So overall, this is, in terms of plastic, it's a reasonable quality. It feels like a solid product. It is quite a heavy camera. That's something that I've noticed with this, but that is just down to its size. Obviously you've got the mounting for this here, as you can see, is just on the back of it rather than kind of on the base or anything like that. So we'll just put that down and then just see some of the other bits and bobs that you get in the box as well. So this is your accessories pack, and here you've got a black mount, which is obviously for your solar panel, that being an all black unit. You get a micro USB to USB-A cable there if you want to charge this without the solar panel, and then you get a white mount, so pretty similar mount to the LED, the solar panel. This is obviously for the camera. So just to run through the specs, it is a 2K wire-free camera. It runs on the 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi band, so no 5 gigahertz on this. It has a 13,500 milliamp hour rechargeable battery, so depending upon where you've got this installed, potentially a good lifespan there. Full color night vision, AI human detection. The LEDs on the front, 800 lumen LED, so it should potentially be really quite bright there. Obviously it's got a alarm on it as well, and you support 128 gigabytes of local micro SD storage. You've also got a cloud option as well, of which you get a 7-day free trial of that, but I've got no details of the pricing of the cloud, so I would probably just go with the local storage on that, and it is IP66 rated as well. So in terms of app setup, well, it is pretty straightforward. You get this little intro here, and then you are going to have to create an account to get going with this. Really frustrating. I think you should only have to create an account if you're going to use the cloud storage, but this is what you're forced upon. So one notable thing here, ieGeek, if you're watching this, passwords should never be displayed in plain text on the screen. You need to fix that in your software. But setting up the camera itself, really straightforward process. Obviously you're going to have to connect it to your power. You just go through the app and just choose what type of camera you've got from the range of devices. All the instructions are on the screen, as you can see. Really straightforward. You're going to need to power on the camera, so you get all the instructions here. As you can see there is the little red light, and then when you press the reset button you get that flashing red light then. So that is not all now ready to go. So you just click on next and select your Wi-Fi network. So once you've connected it to your Wi-Fi, as you can see, you're going to have to scan a QR code that's displayed on your mobile device just by holding the camera up to that. and then you just get a little notification to say that it's actually gone, and scan that, and then literally it was just a couple of seconds and it connected successfully to the camera, and then you've got a blue light on the front, and it really was that straightforward. As you can see, it is now displaying me looking back across my desk. One thing I've noticed as I was just doing that, there is a slight amount of lag on the video, probably just about a second, so not a huge amount. But you just go through the rest of the options, where you're going to locate the camera. You get a nice little set of tour options through the app as you get going, and then you can play your live feed of your camera on the screen. So there you go, another little example of the delay there. So not massive, not the worst that I've seen, certainly not instant, but this will be more than sufficient outside as a security camera. So lots of options on the front screen there. You can turn the light on if you want to, and as you can see, that it really is quite a bright light. You've got all your kind of like your setup information really easily accessible. Lots of details about your device there. You have an online installation guide as well. You can have a 12 or 24 hour clock if you want on the camera itself. Image settings, so you've got an anti-flicker, so you can change this to 50 or 60 hertz. Obviously default 50. Screen flip, I'm not sure why you'd want to do something like that. You turn off and on your microphone and your other options, your light settings. What I did find here is you can double press the options on the app and it brings the screen up again. Again, something ieGeek, just something to have a look at in your app. But you can set when the light comes on as well, so you can set kind of like a schedule of when the light would actually come into use. Motion detection, again, good set of options here. You've got force sensitivity control. You can define your area, so quite nice. You can go and paint this all out, and pretty easy to quickly get a zone highlighted for where you want only detection to take place, and then you can quickly go and clear it away. Couldn't see an option to have multiple zones there. Maybe I'm missing that, so maybe that's something, if it doesn't do that, they can put that in the app. And then you got these couple of options at the bottom here, linked lighting and linked buzzer. Now, I'm not sure about the wording on these. As I've gone through and used the camera, actually these seem to determine whether actually the lighting actually works or not. So I think maybe it is wording on the app, I don't know. And then you've got details of all your battery usage on the camera as well, and you can see whether it's charging if you're using the solar panel. You've then got your recording management, so you can format your micro SD card in there as well. And as I say, there you go, your 7 days free trial of your cloud storage. And pretty good to see out of the box that it was actually up to date with the latest version of the firmware as well. So a lot of cameras you tend to have to download a new update straight out of the box. So I've got the camera set up with the solar panel, so even though it's not so sunny in the UK this time of the year, I am hoping to get a little bit of power from that solar panel. But my first test is basically me walking around at the corner of my house trying to see how quickly I get the notification, how quickly the camera picks me up as well. So obviously you can see here in the footage I'm showing you the notifications on my phone, and one thing to point out, I didn't get a notification come through even though the camera was recording, so there was no footage lost. I just didn't get a notification come through on that. I went into the settings, I made sure notifications are all turned on and everything, but nothing came through on that particular event. So next up is the microphone test. So, how well can I hear somebody outside from the camera? So I'm probably around 2 or 3 feet away from this. This is a test of the ieGeek microphone. It picks me up, it's not super loud. One thing to note though, the audio doesn't seem to be synced with the video. This isn't a problem in this video that I've recorded for you. This is actually in the footage itself. There is that slight delay. So I'm hoping that's just a software thing, some kind of firmware thing that they can fix on that. But yeah, a little bit, it's just a tiny bit off, I would say. Probably, kind of like half a second, something like that. So my next test is just to see how good the quality is during the daytime. I'm outside and I've got an A4 sheet of paper with an appropriate message for you guys on it. And it doesn't look too bad. I think, for a 2K camera, the quality is not too bad at all. One thing to point out, as you can see in this image here, this is actually where I started moving from. And I'm sure if you replay the video a little bit, you'll actually see at the point where the cameras picked me up. So as is the case with battery cameras, there's always a little bit of a lag before the recording starts, but this camera clearly doesn't have any kind of pre-record on it. So next up are a couple of clips. First one is the ieGeek 2K black and white night recording, and the second one is from my Eufy 2C, which is a 1080p camera. And what I would say is I don't think there's much difference between the two of them. If anything, I think the ieGeek has a little bit of artifacting going on the image. It's almost like a shimmer or a ghosting going on there, but for a 2K camera, I don't think that's a good enough difference from a 1080p camera, certainly in black and white night vision. So next up, I've got some colour nighttime footage from both the ieGeek and the Eufy 2C camera. What I will say is the ieGeek is pretty quick in the dark. It picked me up a lot quicker than the Eufy camera, and that floodlight is really quite bright. It did actually, it was significantly brighter than the Eufy camera. It's not like a standalone security light that you might have in your garden, but it was bright enough to certainly kind of like warn somebody off if that lit up on them. Oddly as well, so I played around with the settings in the app, and that linking the light option that was in the app, seemed to be what enabled the light to come on at night, and also magically my notifications started coming through super quick on my mobile phone as well. So I don't know what's going on there, maybe something for ieGeek to have a look at. So whilst I've been testing this camera, certainly in my part of the UK, it's been pretty much torrential rainfall for a number of days, and the camera's been out in that, so it definitely is worthy of its IP66 rating there. I didn't have any issues with that. I think also the solar panel seems to have worked pretty well there as well, and as it kind of lets the battery go down to kind of like 90%, and then it charges up to 95 and then 100%. So all week with an awful lot more detection, me moving around all in the garden and everything, and live viewing and all that kind of stuff, the battery hasn't gone below 90%. So what is my opinion of the ieGeek 2K floodlight security camera? Well, at £180, I think that's a little steep. Certainly given the black and white nighttime footage doesn't seem to be really any better than a 1080p camera. Daytime is pretty good, I would say, for a 2K camera. Has lots of features on it. I'd like to see more with the AI stuff. It kind of focuses on the fact that it filters out everything else, and it just really is the human bit that it kind of works on. Other brands do things like parcels and stuff like that, but arguably they are generally hooked into some kind of paid for service. It's performed really well over the week. The nighttime floodlight is absolutely fantastic. The microphone could be a little bit better. I think the mounting bracket for it's a heavy camera, I would say, and depending upon how you're going to have this positioned, you might get a little bit of droop in the camera head. Certainly, it took a number of goes for me to just get this right and get this into a fixed place, but once it was there, it stayed there even in quite strong winds, so bonus points for that. Overall, I think if this was about £120, £130, something like that, I think this would be a good option for people. The fact that you get the solar panel with it as well, these things themselves are kind of like 30 quid by themselves, so that kind of brings it down to a 90, £100 camera, which I think is probably, for the camera itself, is probably where that lies. The application itself has good functionality in it. I think there's some options that do need to be there. I couldn't see anything with regards to RTSP or anything like that, so if that's something that interests you, I think maybe move on to a different product, unless ieGeek can introduce something like that. And certainly those notifications, why I needed to kind of like enable the LED light on it to suddenly start getting notifications through. Something's not quite right there in my book. But overall, not a bad camera. There's lots of these types of cameras in the marketplace. Is it better than any of those premium brands, the Eufy and the Arlo and kind of like Ring? Well, it's definitely better than two of those, that being Arlo and Ring, I would say. Mainly because of the way Arlo ties you into a subscription service, and Ring because of various issues that you have with the Ring camera. Is it better than the Eufy camera? Well, obviously Eufy's 2K floodlight cameras are significantly more expensive than this. I don't have one of those cameras, so I can't test it against that and tell you whether, from a footage perspective, it is better than that. But certainly from a price point of view, it is more competitive than that, and it is more kind of like feature packed and has better specification than the 1080p camera. So I think it's one of those things. If I can get my hands on a 2K Eufy floodlight camera, I will obviously try and do some kind of comparison test there. But overall, not a bad camera. But you let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you think down below in the comments. How well do you think this has performed? Have you got one of these ieGeek cameras or one of their previous ones, something like that? Let me know down below. As always though, if you've enjoyed the video, don't forget to hit the like button and hit the subscribe button as well for more content like this on the channel. But thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye for now.